For us to go viral, huge blow to the Chiefs and the league last night as MVP Patrick Mahomes appeared to dislocate his kneecap last night on a 4th-and-1 quarterback sneak attempt in the second quarter. And stars from around the sports world took to Twitter to wish Patty well. Russell Wilson tweeted, "Praying for you, bro." Deshaun Watson echoed Russ, saying, "Praying my bro Patrick Mahomes is straight." And LeBron James added, "Best of luck and health to my guy, Patrick Mahomes." Tough.
Patty also himself tweeted after the game saying signs are encouraging, so they're obviously waiting on the MRI. But he is, because of the season he had last year, I think he got to meet a lot of the superstars around the league. Otherwise, he would be, or around the sports world. Otherwise, and nobody likes to see this. I mean, I understand I'm a Kansas City fan, so it's so special, but he's one of the most exciting players to watch in the entire
and it's
NFL.
something we're not used to in the NBA, but in the NFL, year after year, we have to get used to our star players being hurt. And Patty Mahomes, it's not good for football. He's an exceptional talent. He's a bright light into a big business. So I believe he's going to be back on the field. So for me, I'm not as...
Chris doesn't think it's season ending. So
no.
This is more of a typical out 3 to 4 weeks. And by the way, just quickly, I know people sometimes complain, you're softening the league, you're overprotecting the quarterbacks. One of the reasons they do that is because you can get hurt on a QB sneak. So like they're trying to remove as many possibilities.
Yeah, and the quarterbacks are soft.
Okay.
They're just a little bit tougher than the kickers. Yeah, that's the reason.
So
why.
the hierarchy is kicker, quarterback, then everybody else?
Absolutely. You know it on the toughness test.
We're going to get to some stories to start your morning. Last night, the Astros took down the Yankees 8-3. Houston now leads the ALCS 3-1. George Springer and Carlos Correa both went yard with 3-run homers. Game 6 tonight. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on FS1. Nick, any chance the Yankees come back in this series?
Yeah, I mean, listen, down 3-1, facing Game 5 this evening. I don't know how they do it. They're going to have to beat Verlander and Cole in order to win this, to get to the World Series.
Yeah, you know exactly how they do it.
Tell me.
Who are they going to have pitching in game number 6?
The Astros? Nobody.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. So
but you got to win the other games surrounding you. You got to beat Verlander and you
just have to win game number 5.
Beat Verlander.
And it's not as if the pitching has overwhelmed the Yankees. They've had the opportunities, and it's not like Houston's just balling out. They have a little bit better pitching, and they have a handful of more clutch hits than the Yankees. You got to be able to land the runners when they get in scoring position. Yankees have been a...
He's got a real positive
Yankees had the opportunity yesterday. Bases loaded, 1 out, back-to-back.
Yankees are coming back, and Patty Mahomes is going to do okay.
Yep.
On to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They'll host the surprising Raiders, who are coming off a bye week. John Gruden knows he's in for a tough test against Rodgers, saying number 12 is fun to watch, except when you're going against him. Packers could be without a number of their offensive weapons. So, how do you think this game plays out?
Man, this is a dangerous game for Green Bay. Oakland is coming off the bye week. Man, they had a tremendous win over there in London. Will they have a positive bounce from that? I would expect that. In Oakland, I mean, in the position they're in with Patty Mahomes, I mean, they're going to be fired up. If they can pull off the upset and get to 4-2, wow, without AB being there, without Vontaze Burfict, man, that would be an amazing first half of the season for John Gruden and Mike Mayock, which I had a lot of questions more about Gruden than Mayock.
And on the Green Bay side of things, since you covered Oakland, they already lost 1 game at home to a team that was, at the time, not playing very well in Philadelphia. Now, Oakland, to your point, is playing well, but I don't think anyone thinks they're one of the elite teams in this league. NFC, man, they're 5-1. It feels great. Okay, well, you lose 1 game, all of a sudden, there's 3 or 4 teams in the conference with a better record than you. Seattle's 5-1. San Francisco's undefeated. New Orleans 5-1. So every single one of these, particularly home game, matters for Green Bay. They get the benefit of when they do catch the Chiefs. It'll be next week without Patrick Mahomes. They can all of a sudden take care of this game, get to 7-1 at the midway point. But this is going to be a tricky spot for Green Bay. I agree with you.
And finally, the news of the night, a devastating night for the Chiefs and Nick Wright.
Yeah, in the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes suffered what's being reported to be a dislocated kneecap on this 4th-and-1 quarterback sneak. The Chiefs have an MRI scheduled today to determine potential ligament damage. Right now, though, Mahomes will reportedly miss a minimum of 3 weeks. So, Nick, how long can the Chiefs survive without Mahomes?
Okay, so this is a really interesting question because a lot of that depends on the question is, can they win their division? It's no longer can they get a bye. It's no longer like you remove that from it. That's what was lost at a minimum last night. Question is, can you win your division, guarantee yourself a home playoff game, and be in the playoffs, assuming Mahomes is back, with a healthy Patrick Mahomes? And this is where the inexplicable and really indefensible struggles of Los Angeles Chargers. This is where Denver going with Joe Flacco. Those things play to their benefit. The Chargers were a 12-win team last year. Now, I know they lost Derwin James, and that made me skeptical of them a bit this year, but they have been disastrous. They just lost to a third-string duck-calling quarterback at home on national television. So the Chargers have almost crossed themselves out. Denver was feeling good about themselves. They had won 2 in a row. They had said, oh, well, you know, 2 of our losses came on last-second field goals, and then they get the gift of all gifts, Patrick Mahomes being knocked out of the game, and they can do nothing with it. That team, you can almost cross them out. So to me, the question is, can the Chiefs, if he misses a month, they have Green Bay, Minnesota, at Tennessee, and at the Chargers. Can they go 2-2? Can they beat the Titans and the Chargers? If they go 1-3, because they are right now already at 5-2, would they, even if they went 1-3, would they be in first place when Patrick Mahomes were to come back after the bye, if Chris is right about that he could only miss a month? I think the answer to that question is yes. I don't think Oakland is all of a sudden going to rip off 3 of 4. So I think they can tread water. I don't think they can have the success New Orleans has had without Drew Brees, because they don't have Teddy Bridgewater back there. But I don't know if they need to have that level of success in order to stay in first place in the division.
There hadn't been a team since Matt Moore's been in the league that was confident when he was under center. So how long can you live without oxygen? They got no defense. They got no run game. Without Patty Mahomes, they got no hope. All right? Because the way the offense is constructed, where it's based on the wide receivers, their speed, and their overall creativity. Now, Travis Kelce, he'll catch 100 balls because he can get to a sweet spot. But they don't have the protection to allow the deep routes to develop down the field, and Matt Moore does not have the arm talent. Do you know where he was when he was getting ready to start the season?
Yeah, he was coaching or
He
scouting.
had given up on football.
That's true.
And he had signed with the Miami Dolphins as a scout. Now, they got a hell of a scouting department to hire him based on the way the team they putting out there. But his mind was not in pro football. And I know Andy Reid. He's one of the best quarterback coaches in the world. Their offense is creative. But when Patty Mahomes hurt his knee last night, they opened up a different playbook. Because you cannot run the different variety of routes that they want to run, and Patty being familiar with it and having the arm talent that I can get to all these spots on the field. So Andy Reid's going to have to do some of his best coaching to be able to keep this team alive and keep them in the race.
And so real quick to follow up, though I do wonder how many games do they need to win between now and the bye to stay alive, to stay in the race? Right now they've got 5 wins. The next most in their division is 3. So like if they went 1-3, would they still, and then they have the bye, and then Oakland, by the way, the team that's most likely to be chasing them. If Patrick Mahomes is just out a month, assuming they don't go winless in the month, I think that when he comes back, they would still at least have a share of the divisional lead. Because I agree, listen, the Chiefs defense played great last night. I don't think that is sustainable. I don't think that's duplicable. I don't think they all of a sudden unlock something. So I'm not going to act like all of a sudden the Chiefs are some team that can do what New Orleans is doing, which is just pivoting to a defense run-oriented game plan. I just don't know how many games they would need to win in this month of football.
The thing about it, the goals for Kansas City have changed. After being the AFC Championship home field advantage, Patrick Mahomes MVP, the goal is not to get in the playoffs. They're not Dallas. They're not one of these teams. It's to win in the playoffs in advance. So for me, if they can't have home field advantage, I don't trust them playing at home. We saw what New England did to them last year, had controlling the ball for 40 minutes. I don't trust them at home. Now you think I trust them on the road with a bad defense and no running game in December and January? No, so that's what I talk about, running out of oxygen. Like, they need some help. They need the Kansas City. They need at least a game in Kansas City. They need a bye week. So for me,
well, I think the bye week's gone now, and if that to you eliminates some of that, I think they still can get a game in Kansas
City. If you got a ticket for them to buy the Super Bowl, you might as well light that one up. Well, spark that one on.
I think we disagree on whether or not they can win a road playoff games. But if they win the division, they would have a home playoff game to start with. But they wouldn't have the bye week, and we know New England's going to get one. New England, what did you say, C, when they about, I think it was when Antonio went there, what does the league do with New England?
Oh, everything. If I could lift this table up, the whole league,
Just
31
tilted
teams,
towards New England.
right into Belichick's bosom.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The only team that's thrown a scare in the last 2 years without the quarterback.
Let's get to the Ravens. They'll be in Seattle to face the Seahawks in a battle of two early season MVP candidates in Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. Jackson went off last week, rushing for a career high of 152 yards against Cincy. Here's Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll on facing Lamar.
He's as good as we've ever seen. He's as fast and as elusive as we've seen. You know, Cam Newton has always been really difficult to play against. You know, and they have so much offense and all that. These guys likewise. They seem even more apt than.
First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Welcome in to First Things First. I'm Sarah Kustok filling in for Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer, Cris Carter. That's Nick Wright. I would say happy Friday and ask how you guys are doing,
I'm
but
gonna knock that out
I
your
think we
hands.
already know the answer.
Yeah.